Good morning. So we're gonna start working on activity 2. So activity 1 was doing the line drawing, and I didn't quite finish all of it because I focused on just the sections that I needed to do for a tutorial for you guys. So activity 2 says that we need to do section A6 through A9, so that's A6 through A9, and section F6 through F9, which is here. So just inside the little pink area. And I think I need to move this line up a little bit, but that's okay, I can do that. So let's think about that. So if the whole thing is activity 1, then I'm gonna wanna make certain that I'm completely aware of what activity 2 is. So I'm going to come in here and I'm gonna put a nice wide but not so dark line all the way through 9, and then A6 all the way down through F. So that's to here. So I'm gonna take that fine light grid line that I made, and I'm just gonna turn it into a wider medium gray line and delineate that section that I need to work on through 9, sorry, right here. Marker's in the way. So now I know what section I need to focus on. And then it says, these are the zones where you'll complete a value study. So you're gonna match the grays on the photo to those that you're gonna create with your pencil. So in this section, I'm gonna focus on trying to do a value study. So I'm gonna be shading with my pencil, and you can be experimental. It can be quite a lot of fun. You could do cross-hatching in an area, scumbling in an area, blending in an area. The only one that you wouldn't wanna do is stippling, because it would need pen. But if you have a pen and you wanna stipple a zone or two and then nice dark velvety black areas, I think that'd be awesome. So yesterday I said that when you're using your computer, you can zoom in. So if you go to view or the magnifying glass, you can just click on 200, and then I am going to pull this down to where I can see that area pretty good. Again, I'm gonna, before you guys get this, the pink line will be up at the top. So then I need to start thinking, is there any area in here that's bright white? And there's really only 2 areas that look kind of white, and that would be the curve of the glass here, and then the reflection on his eye. Everything else is going to be a shade of gray if you compare that to the rest of the paper. So I know then I have to think about, okay, so do I have a value scale? So you might want to be like, okay, so if this is the lightest I can make, and you increase pressure to the darkest you can make with your pencil, then that would be helpful. If you did that in cross-hatching, you know, that's hatching because it's just one set of lines, and then you can go back in and create different thicknesses and spacings of lines in order to create different values of cross-hatching. So on and so forth, and same thing with scumbling. I happen to love scumbling, and I like just regular shading. So I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna use scumbling, I think. I know that in this area, I'd already said that this is gonna be a little bit darker, and I think it's easier to work with some of your middle tones first and sort of figure out where some of these middle values go, because I sort of already outlined them, and I kind of know where some of them are, and I'm using the grid to help me figure out these. This is almost like shading by shape and not by number, because we didn't go in and number them, but you could figure out where your 1s were, where your 2s were, and go all the way through number 7 like we did on our value scale, and worry about that. Now there's different textures that are in there because you've got his eyebrows and different kinds of things. Like these glasses get very, very, very dark. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and make those nice and dark, 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 dark. So that's taking my line study into a value study. His skin up in here is very light. Now, for our purposes, we're gonna just leave the grid on there, but in classes, we would definitely ask you when you're doing these high value areas to go in and erase the pencil grid line before you put your value on. That's why we wanted to make them nice and light. And what that'll do is it makes that entire grid disappear once you put in your different values. The other thing is to think about, like, here's that crease from his forehead, that wrinkle, it goes in an arc. So when you're thinking about, you know, how the skin flows across the body, maybe if we are able to see any streaks, it would make sense that those streaks would sort of flow with the wrinkles in his forehead. That way they go with it and it's not fighting against it. Sometimes that's when you guys color stuff in, you're going opposite the direction that it could be. And then right here where he's got his eyebrows, we can do a little scumbling on top, but not over here where it's just a shadow change. But there are some wrinkles, so I'll come in there and give some little lines to indicate some of these wrinkles in here that are a little darker in some areas, and that's definitely a darker value. So basically you're just going through and you're looking at the square that you're drawing, the square that you're drawing, square that you're drawing, square that you're drawing. Notice that underneath his glasses is like all dark. In fact, it's all dark. Nothing in near his, you know, the skin of his eyelid and everything like that. Nothing is bright white. And we've got those sort of weird lines that show the texture of his eyebrows. A little bit more sort of the irregular edge of where his eyelashes would be, but you don't see individual eyelashes. And his iris itself is very, very dark. It's not as dark as his pupil, so you want to be careful because his pupil is even darker. So it's like a medium low, and then the pupil is low, low, low. And then that bright little reflection, you be very careful and just keep it nice and bright white, because that's one of the few areas you just got to be careful about keeping nice and bright white. So really dark pupil, and really dark iris, but not as dark as a pupil. Anyway, so you're just matching. I'm going to continue. It's going to go time lapse at this point, and I'll continue to develop the values on Chuck Close's face in that section that we've delineated for activity 2, and that's how that goes.